Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates, Season 2, Episode 208. Before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode. Sorry. We start the episode off with Vernon and Anita, and they're just getting back from chemo, and Anita's talking about you know worrying about her girls, wondering if they got the news because they said they were supposed to get the news today, and Vernon is being real tight-lipped about it. And she's just like, you know what, come to think about it, you haven't made any calls today. What's up? So he tells her that he did get a call from Martin, and Nicole is negative, and she's just like, oh, well, thank God. And she's just like, wait a minute, you are very precise with your words. So Nicole is negative. What about Dani? And he tells her, Dani got it. And she's like, well, I need to go see my baby. And he was just like, no, you need to be at home. Like, you're supposed to be resting. We don't know, like, how your body's going to do after this, after chemo. So, like, the doctor told you to rest. And she's just like, I don't care what the doctor said. This is my body, my choice. I want to go and see my baby. I need to have my arms around my baby. Like, I need to talk to her because I gave her this gene. Like, no, I'm not, like, no. And he's just like, no, you can't go, da 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 da. And she's just like, you have to get better. And she was just like, the only thing that'll make me better is if I be with my baby and having her in my arms. And he's just like, fine, I'll have the driver bring the car around. So we see, oh Lord, okay, we see Naomi, and Naomi's talking to Ashley, and she's thanking her for getting her in to see Grayson, and how he's so smooth and with the needle and all this other stuff, and that Madison is in with Chelsea. And Madison is in with Chelsea. So they're talking, and she's just basically saying, you need to ask Grayson out on a date. Oh, let's go on a double date tonight and all this other stuff. So Ashley asked Grayson out. So they decide to go to Uptown. So we see them at Uptown, and they're flirting with each other. He's low key a clean freak, like she's a clean freak. So I guess they're gonna be a match made in heaven. This was a cute little, scene with her. I wasn't annoyed with her in the date. I was just like, okay, that's what's up. But like someone pointed out on Twitter, I can't remember who, but this is her third love interest in less than a year. And she's a flop character. Like, she works better as the supporting and not a lead. Because again, in the she wasn't leading, she's not leading story, but she has her own story, but it's not leading. And it's just like, I can deal with her like this. Like, this is cool. But yeah, this is her being her third love interest, and yeah. But I digress. So we see Jacob, he's at work, and Elon, his dad, comes and asks him some questions about one of the cases that he has. And Jacob isn't like, he's not on his P's and Q's because, Jacob is Mr. Do-Good. And his dad is just like, what's wrong? What the hell wrong with you? Like, you always on point. What's up? And so he tells him about the Anita and the BRCA of it all. And his dad is just like, man, I'm sorry. Why didn't you tell me? Like, why are you at work? You need to go be with your woman. And he's just like, all this other stuff. Naomi is extra, whatever. And he was just like, if that was my wife, I don't know what I would be doing. Like, I'd be with her every step, like, be with her there, be there with her every step of the way. He's just like, just go be with your woman. And so Jacob was like, all right, I'm gonna leave once I'm done with this. And he was just like, nah, that can wait till tomorrow. Go be with your woman. So Jacob goes to Uptown, and he meets up with Naomi. And he's like, shouldn't we be at home? Like, be at home, like doing some Netflix and chill type stuff, since you had this news and all this other stuff. And she's just like, no, we're good. I just want to be here for my friend, all this other stuff. And he's just like, okay. So then he tries to talk to her and he was just like, I know this is a lot, X, Y, and Z. And she's just like, she shuts it down and she's just like, yeah, I'm good. My main focus right now is just to make sure that Grain is okay and did all this other stuff. And again, I really dislike Naomi, because it's just like, girl, this is again, not even the second time, but this is multiple times that your husband is trying to be a husband to you. He's also trying to be a friend to you. He's trying to be a partner to you. He's trying to be everything to you, and you aren't letting him. You are letting everybody else be that to you than your own husband. Like, you legit was talking to Ashley earlier in, like, early in the day. So, because it's the same day or whatever. But yesterday's episode, you were telling Ashley everything that your husband has been asking you to tell him. And you couldn't even tell him that. Now, when he's trying to talk to you again, because I'm surprised that she even told him that her mama got the gene, because it feels like you wasn't even going to tell him about that, because you showed it, act like you couldn't tell him. When you found out, you was real quick to start looking up all this stuff. You wasn't even like, let me tell my husband. Like, I don't, apparently she did tell him because he knew when he was at work. But still, like, I wouldn't have thought that you told him, because you don't tell him nothing anyway, as it is. So, but yeah, so she shut that down, and it was just like, girl, so annoying. So we see Chelsea, she was at the hospital also, and she had, after she did a blood test, she was talking to Madison, and she was just like, she wants to be spontaneous again. She used to just go to the airport and close her eyes and pick a destination and just go. She wants to be back doing that. She wants to live life, and she wants to do it with Madison. She wants to she wants to go on adventures with her. She wants to do things. They've been dating and they haven't gone on no vacation. She just wants to be back, not even be back like how she was before when she was doing her threesomes and all of that, but she just wants to be the person that she was at Madison. Because I remember I think when they first met, she had asked her a question and she was talking about her best vacation or place that she ever went was when she went to Italy or something like that. And she was talking about that. So she used to just live life. But now she really isn't anymore. And I don't know if it's because, well, I mean, we know why, because it's like, it's a soap. Of course, she has to be in town a lot. But besides that, she's telling Madison all of this, and Madison is just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we can do that. And then Chelsea kisses her and hugs her, and then you see Madison looking like, I low-key don't want to do all of this stuff. And I think it's a thing of Madison is probably a planner. Like, she has to have all her ducks in a row before she does anything. So being spontaneous is not like, that'll be nerve-wracking for her. So now she's like in a relationship with someone who is spontaneous and who just goes by the way, not even goes by the wayside, but she just does as she's a free spirit. She just will pack up and go, because she has that type of life where she can just pack up and go. And Madison, you working not a 9 to 5, but you working in the medical field, and you probably work 12-hour days, probably 12, like 4 days on, 3 days off type stuff, or something like that. And it's just like, you can't just get up and go when you like work like that. So they're gonna have to figure that out. So we see Nicole, and maybe I love this for my baby, but she was at Uptown. She had texted Carlton, and Carlton meets her. She's just like, I'm so glad that we're here, And he was just like, what do you mean? And she was just like, that I can text you and you'll come, like that I text you and you come. or whatever. Because when he first showed up, she was just like, "Oh, you showed up," and he was just like, "You text me," and she was just like, "I'm so glad that we're here. That when I text you, you actually just come." And they're talking, and she's drinking, and he asks her about the test, and she tells him that she was negative, and he's just like, "Well, why are you so sad?" And she tells him like, Dani didn't test negative. She got the gene. Now she's feeling bad. She's happy for her kids, but she's like, she wants to she has, she's got to figure out how to be there for her sister because like she's a doctor, she knows how it is, but she's just sad. She orders a Long Island iced tea. He's just like, that's normally, oh, sorry, that's normally not what you get. Ooh, sorry. That's not normally the drinks that you get. And she was just like, well, I just want to let loose, let me relax. Let me not be Miss Perfect for one night. So she talks about how she used to be the fix. She was just talking about how she's going to be a fixer. And he's just like, what's a fixer? And she's just like, it's my job to make sure that nobody in the family falls. And now she can't do that because she doesn't know how to um help the family, with her mom going through what she's going through, with Dani having the gene, so then she might end up having it, and then her kids and all this other stuff. And so he asked her, um he asked her he tells her, be real with me. And she was just like, you want me to be real? I'm terrified. And she starts to cry. And then she talks about how Anita was, she from Cabrini Green, and she was she was from the poorest place, and she built herself up and became an EGOT. She got this, she got that. She's just, she's this. And then here come the big C, and it's just like the big C don't care who they get. So she's like, really, really sad about it. So she orders another drink. And mind you, this is like her second drink that she's Long Island iced tea that she's drinking. And so she starts to get a little loud, like, talking about how she's let me see. Oh, she talks about how with Dani getting the BRCA gene, it plays into the narrative that Dani is a broken one and she's Miss Perfect, and she doesn't like that. She's like going in on herself, and just like, just like really giving her point of view, which is like, love it, because it's just like we've been asking for Nicole to have her point of view, like through all of this, because it was just like after the whole anniversary party, she didn't have her own point of view in her own story. It was just like, you found out you got cheated on, and then boom, the story's about Leslie and Eva. So her having this point of view was great. Loved it. Love this scene. Love it all. Like, my baby was drunk boots. When I tell you, that girl was drunk boots. So she's trying to order her third or fourth drink, I guess. I can't remember. And he's just like, no, let's not get the drinks. And she was just like, what? So you don't want the real me now? And he was just like, no, you don't want to have this conversation in a restaurant where everybody can hear you. So she was just like, so he takes her home, and she made another Long Island iced tea. And he was just like, they can sneak up on you. And she was just like, boo, and starts laughing. I was just like, Nicole was drunk. So she goes to sit down, and he says, she was just like, this won't be my first hangover. And he goes to say something, and she just like goes off on him, like, if you want Miss Perfect, she ain't here. And if you gonna come, like, what did he say? What did she say to him? Um, she just wants one night where she can let her hair down and not have any answers. She just wants to let loose because a whole bunch of stuff has been happening, and she just doesn't want to think about it. And if he can't handle her like this, then he gonna have to wait till Miss Perfect comes back and ask her then, and try to be with her then. That's if she even wants to be with him. I said, I know that's right. So he, like, he tells her, no, I want to be, I'm gonna be here with you. I'm not gonna let you drink by yourself. I'm not gonna let you drink alone. So he makes her another drink that, like a seltzer type drink or whatever, that doesn't have a lot of alcohol in it, but does have alcohol. So she puts on the jazz music that they was dancing to, and she starts dancing, and then he starts to dance with her. They start making out, and she's trying to like, she's trying to get freaky, and he's just like, no, and she was just like, what? Like, is you cool? And so he tells her, no, I want to be your whole life. I want to be with you. Like, I want to be with you, like all of you, not just when you not right now. And so she's just like, okay. So then she goes and, sorry. So, cause this was a scene where she said, boop. Sorry. But so she he goes to um like I think give her another drink or something, and he comes back into the living room and she knocked out on the sofa. So he puts a blanket on her and sits next to her, and then she cuddles up to him. So they're sitting next, they're like, laying with each other or whatever. So we see Andre and Danny, and they're at the house, and she's waiting by the phone, like she's watching her phone, waiting for somebody to call her. And he's just like, girl, you just, relax. Don't, they gonna call you when they need to call you. And she's just like, man, what's that say about me that my family doesn't think I can handle this? And, I wanted to, the girls didn't want me to be there with them when they took the blood test. Daddy didn't want me to be there with mama when she did her chemo. And he's just like, what were you gonna do there? Like, you don't need to be there at all those things. I understand that you want to be there for your girls, but there's nothing that you can do. It's not you being there while they take the test is not going to change the results. So just chill. So, they declare their love to each other and how they're each other's home, and they love each other so much, and they can't, they're so happy that they found each other and all this other stuff. So they about to get nasty, and then here come Vernon and Anita. So when they get there, uh Anita was just like, where's Danny? And he was just like upstairs, and she starts to walk upstairs, and he was just like, she may not be dressed. And she was just like, I brought that girl in this world. You don't think I ain't seen her naked behind? And just walks off. I was just like, exactly. What did you think he was gonna do, Andre? What? So we see Andre and Vernon talking, and they talk about, they have their father-in-law, son-in-law talk, and he talks about how Jacob and Smitty have stepped up to the plate, and they're doing right by his, they're the good in-laws, and then Ted and Bill were the bad in-laws because they couldn't step up and do what they had to do. They couldn't do right by his girls, and he's happy that Danny found Andre. Um, yeah, he's happy that Danny found Andre, and Andre is telling him, I'm here with your daughter. I love her. I'm glad I found her too. And, I had to check Bill, and Bill is not going to come in between us and all this other stuff. And Vernon was just like, okay, like, I hear what you're saying, but just know if you mess up and you leave her alone, somebody else gonna swoop in and be by her side. And clearly we know that's going to be Bill, because Bill is getting poisoned and he about to run to Danny. I know that's where they're going, but I really like Danny and Andre. I think they're so cute. I love them. And Bill doesn't deserve her. Because, yeah, I'm not going to forget that he really had that lady begging and laughed in her face. And now that you really married your daughter's best friend and forced her to come to the wedding, and you disrespected her at every turn, and now you want to act like, anyways, child. So Anita goes upstairs and she sees Danny. Danny is shocked that she's there because she's just like, you supposed to be resting, da 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 da. And Anita is just like, baby, you thought I would what? You thought that I wasn't gonna come check on you when I found out you had that gene? Nah, I need you in my arms right now. So they're hugging, and it's just like, oh. And so Anita apologizes to her for her having the gene, and Danny's just like, what could you do? Like, not have me? Like, it's, it's not your fault. It's life, and Nita talks about how when her and Vernon, like, got together and they thought about their children, they thought they wanted their children to be the spitting image of them. But and Dani is just like, oh, are you mad that I'm not like you? And she was just like, no, I love you the way you are. I'm glad that you're not like me. The fire that you have inside of you is just, it's strong. So you remember that with whatever is about to come, basically. So they hug, and then they go downstairs, and Anita's like, I'm ready to go now that I see my baby. I'm ready to go. So that's how the episode ends. So this was another good episode. Again, they've been firing on all cylinders. I didn't mind anything that I saw today, except for, of course, Naomi, because yeah, she's just, I want to like her so bad, but she is just irritating me. And I don't know if I think I don't know when I'm gonna like her, because I don't know. I think she just gotta let Jacob go for me to like her, or actually be a better wife to him. Cause like, girl, why you be doing him like that? That man don't do nothing but try to worship the ground that you walk on. Like, girl. But yeah, so that was the episode. Let me know what you guys think. Get down in the comments so we can discuss. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. And I will see you guys in the next one.